Hello, hola, bienvenidos. As you guys can see from the title, today we're doing our Panda Shadows update. So I have my 4 shadows here to share with you guys, but first, obviously, hello. It is April. I'm very excited, even though today it is very dreary and gloomy. I feel a little bit odd, you guys, because it's been a month since this area has seen the sun, so it's looking a little pasty. This is my natural color, you guys. I'm looking a little pasty, so I'm like a little don't look at me kind of thing. I'm sure my face doesn't fully match my neck and my décolleté, but that's because it hasn't seen the sun, you guys. I'm literally scarfed up for like 10 months out of the 12 months of the year. So I'm a little bit self-conscious today, but we're gonna roll with it because we need some color even though it's all rainy and dreary today. It is spring officially. So I have my 4 shadows here. I have my updates. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I cannot wait to see what comes up next. Yay! This video is always so much fun for me to film. So anyway, if you are interested, stay tuned. But first, if you're new, welcome. Alejandra, I go by Alex. I'm an eyeshadow enthusiast with the Dash Project Pan. If that is something you want to continue to see on your feed, subscribe and join us. And now let's get on with this update. All right, I'm a little bit excited and hyper and like... So I'm a little bit excited to get back on here and share with you guys what it is that I've been doing this month because I have been rocking it. I have been doing very well in keeping on top of this project pan. This is like my first primary kind of project pan when it comes to eyeshadow products. So because I do want to get more pans in my palette. Let's get into the shadows. Okay, so the first one I want to share with you guys is the Nomad Antilles palette. This was rolled in last month. My primary, or the shadow that I rolled in, was called Diamond Waters. This palette was used. I did a full review on it. I did swatches on it. I have used this palette, but I didn't really like dig into the palette and really get a lot of use out of it. So I'm actually happy that I rolled this in because this is perfect now for this time of year. Now, once we hit April, I want to incorporate more colorful things, more brighter things, more pastel-y shades. I am wearing this palette on my eyes today, so you guys can see it full force. Basically, I am wearing it and I really, really do love it. So obviously the goal is either to hit pan or 27 uses. And as you guys can now see, I will make sure to bring this up close and personal for you guys since I already showed you guys my intro picture. This is what this one is looking like right now. You guys can see a little bit of a dip right there. It is not that much and it is not that large. It could seem a little bit deceiving, but there it is right there. I've actually used this shadow 11 times at this point, today being the 11th day. I am wearing it on my lower lash line. That's how I've been loving to use this shadow. I have my lower lash line. I did use this shadow all over the lid in Wednesday's video. So if you watched my Wednesday video of last week where I wore that hot pink sweater, I had this all over my lid and that is what was on my eyes. So mainly, I've just been using this on my lower lash line. This is a powdery formula. Now, Nomad has since reformulated their shadows, so they're not as powdery and as crumbly as they are in this one. This was one of their first palettes they ever came out with. So now their shadows have changed as far as formula. I actually prefer the formula now than I did here, and I remember saying that in the video when I reviewed this palette. So this one is going to be rather easy for me to use, especially since I'm only using it on the lower lash line. I'm either using a very small detailed brush or a pencil brush. Not to dig a hole in this shadow, but that's because I'm only using it on my lower lash line. I find it to be a beautiful accent on my lower lash line and it looks pastel-like. Isn't that pretty? I really do like this one. Today I'm wearing this one, and another shade. I can't remember which one. I know I'm wearing that one. It is a beautiful palette. I really do like it. So I have, 26 more uses? No. 16 more uses, Alex math, 16 more uses, or to hit pan. I don't know which one, because I don't know how deep these shadows are, but I am enjoying it, and now it is the perfect time for me to fill in. I purposely didn't focus on this shadow, knowing that April was gonna be like my pastel colors, and this was gonna play in there very nicely with the palettes that I wanted to play with. So this is staying in. I still have 16 more uses to go. My next one, and this one I believe is my single. Yes, this is the single that I rolled in. This is the Urban Decay Glitter Rock eyeshadows. I own them all basically, but mine are all in the round packaging. Now they come in a square packaging, and the colors that I own now, not all of them have come back. So I might have ones that don't exist anymore. I don't know if this one does. This is Glitter Rock. Obviously, goal is 27 uses or to hit pan, you guys. And now look at it, you guys. It looks like I did squat. This looks identical to what it was in the beginning. And let me explain, you guys. I've used this 21 times. I am currently wearing it all over my lid. It is a beautiful shadow. Now, these are perfect. These shadows are that perfect shadow that when you just want to look like you are glam put together but don't want to be so glittery. Like, can you see? It looks like I have sparkle, but if you look up close, you can really tell the dimension on my eyelids, and it looks stunning. It goes on anything and everything. I don't have to wet this shadow, and I don't have to use a glitter glue. It stays put. It stays put. It just adheres. It's so beautiful. So I've used this 21 times. It looks like I've done nothing to the shadow. I only have to use my finger, you guys. I've never once put a brush in this. If I put a brush in here, what I will do is get a bunch of fallout all over my face because I'm just not having control of the glitter specks in here, the shimmery specks, whatever the sparkle. For me, if I just rub my finger in there, and I don't have to dig in hard, I just rub my finger in there and then just pat it on, it works beautifully. I have put this on every kind of shadow you can think of, and it works. It works. My favorite way of using this one though is to put it on a gold shadow. It just stands out because this has purple. It has purple and gold and a little bit of like this green, very gentle green to it. It's so pretty. I am so happy that I have every color of these because these are just that perfect dry formula. Like, you know those the Beauty Bay shadows or the ColourPop Super Shocks. This is like the dry version of it where it's not wet. So it'll last you so much longer because it's not a wet formula, but it does the same effect. It doesn't have a base color, so you can plop it on anything and it looks stunning. So I only have 6 more uses for this. I will not hit pan, you guys. These are gonna last me an eternity. If I were to show this to somebody and say, I basically used this 30 times, they're going to look at me like, yeah, okay. Sure you did, Alex, sure. Up next, I have this one. This is my Smashbox Shape Matter Eye Palette. This palette I did do a full review on. I swatched the whole palette. I explained to you guys what this palette was. This is a palette that you can use as eyeshadow, as liner, or as brow products. They give you all different kind of colors and different undertones to be able to fit. So I could use this palette for multiple things on my face and not having to buy additional things. Like, you know how we use eyeshadow as brow products, as brow powders? This was made for that and for eyeliner. So I love this palette for that reason. It's an all matte palette, and I find this to be something good that if I were to, I'm not a fan of a lot of all matte eyeshadow palettes, but this is one of my favorite ones for that reason because they put that in here, those thought processes. You're going to use it as a shadow. You're going to use it as a brow. You're going to use it as an eyeshadow, and it works. The tones of them work perfectly for whatever color hair you have or undertone or skin tone. So I rolled in the shade Canyon. And I told you guys I was going to use this as a liner. And here is where we're at right now, you guys. Here's the shadow right here. Does it look like I did anything? Nope. Nope. It looks like it is still brand new in here. I just basically swatched it. That's all that it looks like I did to the shadow. I used this 27 times, you guys. And the whole entire 27 times, I used it as an eyeliner over my liner that I'm currently panning. It's a brown one. It worked perfectly fine for it. And it defined my eyes perfectly. 27 times I dipped into here. And I knew it, you guys. Smashbox shadows are firmly pressed. Some don't have a lot of kick up depending on what kind of formula you're working with. but there's so much saturation in the pigment, not as much as like a Give Me Glow or Menagerie, but there is enough pigment in there where you don't need a knot. Like their formulation to me reminds me of like a sophisticated version of a pigmented shadow, like a bougie kind, not like a, oh, it's just gonna be so much all over the place and splotchy and patchy. No, it's a really, really nice formula. I don't mind it, but I knew I was not gonna hit pan on this one. I knew I was not even gonna get a dip in here. I've tried to pan Smashbox eyeshadows before, shimmery and matte, and I have yet to be successful in hitting pan on any of them. I've gotten dips, but not pan. So I knew I wasn't gonna hit pan on this one, but I'm happy. 27 uses, you guys. If I were to continue to use this as an eyeliner, this is gonna take me about 2 years to hit pan on this sucker. It's deep and it's pigmented. I just bounced my eyeliner brush once in there and it was enough to coat both of my eyes. That's how pigmented this is, but it's not too pigmented where you can't work with it. If you know what I mean, it's that kind of formula. I really like it. So this is gonna get rolled out. I used it and only that shadow did I work on, so I'm not even gonna put that in my ranking video because I didn't use anything else but that shadow. Last but not least is one that has been here 2 months in a row. That is my ColourPop Pinky Promise shadow. I rolled in the Z palette of it, and this is the shadow that came out of it. The last update, you saw that I had disturbance because I started out with the shadow being brand new, never used, never swatched. And then I had used it 9 times last month, so I had to really hustle with this one and get the rest of the usage out of it. And here's what this shadow is looking like now, you guys. Can you see that? It looks used. It looks like I have enjoyed it. There is a slight little dip right there, if you really want to call that a slight dip. I've used this 27 times, you guys, and this is what it ended up looking. We all know ColourPop shadows are firmly pressed, and some of them are very, very hard to hit pan on, and this is one of them. You guys can see how dirty this pan, like this Z palette is from the shadow. This was gorgeous. I had no issues using it. This is a satin finish where if you wet it, you get a nice like luminous look on your eye. And I'm saying luminous because it's not really shimmery or metallic. It's more like a luminous glow all over the lid, but you can also use it wet as a matte shadow. And that's mainly what I did with it. I used it as a matte shadow on the outer V. I've used it 27 times, so I'm gonna roll this one out. I did not hit pan. This looks nowhere near hitting pan, you guys. Nowhere near hitting pan. And I knew I wasn't going to. This was a tough one. And yeah. All right, you guys, so in this round, we still have 2 shadows that are gonna stay in here, which is perfectly fine. These are perfect for this time of year, so I'm not upset about it. And we're rolling out 2 shadows, and unfortunately this month, we did not hit pan on any of my shadows in this project pan, but I'm not upset about it, you guys. I'm not upset about it because I have hit pan on other palettes throughout the month, and that's my goal. Even if I don't hit pan here, I have other things that I can hit pan on that makes me happy. As long as I hit 1 pan a month, I am good to go on something. That's all that I care about. So before we roll in our next 2 shadows, I'm gonna share with you guys our last few months of our color stories. You guys, so we are rolling out 2 palettes. That means we're rolling in 2 palettes. We still have our single sitting in here, so that's why I'm not rolling in a single. So as you guys know, I enjoy doing this with you guys a ton. Here we go. Is this too bright for you guys? Let's see. Here we go. Is that too bright? No? Too deep? Oh, there we go. All right, here we go, folks. Menagerie Feral palette. What a coincidence, you guys, because the new Menagerie palette is going to be released this weekend, and you know your bottom dollar, that is one of the palettes I'm getting. I told you guys I would whenever they release something, so what is the chances of me getting a Menagerie palette this week? This month, I should say. All right, let's see the next one. Beauty Bay Book of Magic. I just put that one away, you guys. I used that one, Oh God, I'm nervous because there's a lot of blue in there, and you guys know I don't do blue much at this time of year. Okay, let me pull out both of those palettes because I'm so excited, you guys. This is happy. I'm thrilled. All right, let me go get those palettes and then we'll pick our shadows. Okay, so here is Menagerie Pharaoh palette. This palette has now been discontinued, including the shadows themselves. They're not even selling these singles anymore, and I'm sure you can find something very similar in their new shadows, in the ones that they have. Or maybe they even renamed them. I don't know. But from my understanding, these shades are no longer in existence, which sucks because this is one of my favorites right here. So here is what this palette looks like. I have beaten this one to death, you guys. I've used this so much. I have reviewed it. I have swatched it a million times. I have dedicated so many videos, including this palette in here. You guys know this is one of my all-time favorite palettes ever that I have in my collection. But we all know Menagerie's formula. It is very difficult to hit pan on because I've already tried this last year and it did not work. So I don't know, but I'm just happy I get to pull this out and use it because this is perfect for this time of year. So there's 12 shadows, you guys. Let me roll up my pretty random right here. So let's see what we get. Oh, I didn't clear it from last time. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go. Number 4. Oh, out of all colors, are you kidding me? I got alpha right here. Out of all the shades, I end up with this one. You guys know, this is just going to replace Canyon as my liner. So this is what this one's looking like. I'm trying, these will stain my hand. So this is what this one's looking like. That's just going to be a liner one. But I get the opportunity to play around with the rest of the palette, which makes me happy. So here is Beauty Bay. Book of Magic. We all know this has now since been discontinued, but Menagerie. Beauty Bay has come out with smaller palettes or more dedicated palettes to kind of give this kind of flow. They have a blue, a green, a purple, and a pink. So you can kind of get the same thing, just not exact this. So we have 20 shades. So this is another discontinued palette. I guess it's discontinued month because the Nomad one that I'm working on is also discontinued. Okay. All right, here we go. Number 5. What? Are you kidding me? This one. Okay. All right, this is more of a chocolate brown versus the Menagerie, which is more of a gray. So here, can you guys see that? These are not similar. So I had, one of my rules is if the shades are too similar, I can get rid of one, but this is not that similar. These are distinctly different. This is a grayish brown and this is a warmer brown. So let me swatch the other two so you guys can see my color story. So here's my color story, you guys. April, the month of sunshine. Well, technically, not really for us. It's more rain. But I mean, it represents for me flowers and daffodils and daisies and tulips of all different colors and green. And the grass is growing. The birds are coming back. And I end up with this color story. So let's game plan, shall we? I'm definitely going to tell you guys, I'm going to concentrate on my 2 oldest shadows, which are these 2 right here, which will be my Glitter Rock from Urban Decay and my Nomad. These 2 are not going to be an issue to finish off. I have 16 more uses and I literally have 6 more uses on this one. So I know these 2 are going to get rolled out next month. My thought process on these 2, I'm just going to choose one over the other. I'll use both, especially this one I can use more so if I want to kind of like tone down or make the look, whatever look I'm doing, more neutral-ish because it is a warmer tone brown, so I could do that. This one, I can tell you right now, I will be using that as an eyeliner. It's more of a satin finish too. It's not a full-on matte like this one, but I do want to use this as a liner, so I'm probably going to use this as a liner and then this one take over as my liner, but also be able to multitask this a little bit differently. So that's my game plan. It's really easy. Like this month's color story is going to be really easy for me to reach for, grab for, play around with, you know, it'll give me the opportunity as well to play around with these two palettes. This one I played around with quite a bit in the month of January going into February, but at least this gives me another opportunity to play around with this a little bit more with some of the shades that I love. This one is one of my all-time favorite palettes, so I know I'm gonna get use out of that one a lot. So with the springtime, I can incorporate these 3 palettes plus my single in there. I can incorporate them with all of my pastel shades, and that's where I'm getting at. I'm pulling a lot of pastel palettes this month to use because this is a time a month where it's starting to feel like spring some days, and I still don't have a tan, so the pastels can work for me. So that's where I'm going with this. Even though, my goodness, 2 full-on beautiful colorful palettes, I end up with the 2 browns in there. What are the chances, you guys? What are the chances? Some of you guys may have been like, yes, I got the neutral, and I'm here like, oh, I could have gotten some other colors. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll put my videos on the screen for your enjoyment. Until then, adios.